Welcome back, folks. It is the final week of August 2022, not the final day, the final week. And it is the 29th of August, and we're talking about 3 at 3 unusual activity. If you're new, no, when Pete and I and members of our team see large accumulations of call options, that is a bullish trade. When we see large accumulations of put options, that is a bearish trade. So I'm not trying to dumb it down at all. I'm just saying when somebody buys a lot of options and they are a leveraged bet to the downside, I play it that direction, bearishly. When they're buying to the upside, I follow along with them. It's pretty simple, right? So even if you don't trade options, this is something that you can use perhaps in your investment arsenal. So let's get started. Capital One, this is one that we talked about just recently. They've been buying the puts in October in Capital One with the stock at 112. They bought nearly 10,000. Every option is for 100 shares of stock. So that means that the nearly 10,000 options they bought back then for the October 105 strike, when the index or when the Capital One was trading at 112.16, well, that's $4 ago. So if you shorted the stock at 112.16, you made $4,000 on a $112,000 position, a position that could go against you many ways, just like any investment. You didn't define your risk. You took the whole risk of being short a credit card company and bank that could, if it was taken over, for instance, or merged into a bigger bank, explode to the upside, and you took on that risk. Wouldn't you have rather taken on the risk of owning a put option and profiting from this $4 drop? Well, that's what I did. So we are in the puts for Capital One, and it's now down to 108.14. So it's down $4 in both cases. And in the case of us being in the options, we have a leveraged bet to the downside. Tomorrow, August 30th, 4 p.m. Eastern time, we will have How to Follow the Smart Money. You can register now. That's How to Follow the Smart Money, same title as our book. And it is 4 p.m. right at the market close Eastern time tomorrow, August 30th. Just go to marketrebellion.com to learn more about that. Now, I thought you needed to see this because my brother Pete and I talked about uranium, in particular, these uranium miners, and even uranium ETFs. And why did we do that? Because last week they were aggressively buying stocks in this sector. And today they're moving up rather aggressively. UUUU, CCJ, UEC, you get the idea. They were buying almost any uranium related name. And why were they doing that? Well, because Japan was extending its nuclear program for 17 sites that had been scheduled to go offline. They are not going offline. They've also extended the life of 10 more sites that were due to be shut down. So what does this mean? It means there's more demand, and you know how supply and demand works. The more demand you have with the same supply, prices go up. So the miners, in particular, uranium miners, have been moving higher and higher. You've also got more demand out of Germany competing with France, which is the biggest user of uranium in Europe. And there will be more that expand their use of uranium rather than backing away from it. Fukushima was a horrible accident, but it was just that, a horrible accident. And steps have been taken to mitigate any future Fukushimas. And now people are saying, rather than having no energy, we're better off having nuke energy, given the cutbacks from Russia of oil and gas. ARK, here's another one that we talked about. We have Kathy Wood's ARKK, the innovation ETF, 26,000 puts bought at the October 51 strike. That means somebody wanted the opportunity to sell 2.6 million shares, because every option is for 100 shares. So when you have 26,000 options, that's 2.6 million share equivalent. So it's $100 million trade plus, folks. Yeah, I want to follow those kind of trades. And it has worked out quite well. As you see, we're up nearly $10, $10 on this trade of being long puts, the right to sell the stock at a higher price than where it's trading. It's been a very good trade, and we've still got a position on that goes out till October. All right, Rebel Edge. I said we talked about uranium on Rebel Edge. This is our streaming show that airs Monday, Tuesday, Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You might have been used to seeing us on TV about this. Maybe we'll be back on TV, maybe not. Maybe on that channel, maybe not. We'll see. That's kind of out of our hands. So what's in our hands are a lot of options, including the options of where we should put our information. So Rebel Edge is born, and we are 1 p.m. Eastern Time delivering our take on a 1-minute macro, because that's all it deserves, folks. You don't need hours and hours of talk about macro. If you do, tune into those other places. It's a great solution for people who have insomnia. There are a few things that drive markets each day. We don't need the big macro picture. And since Pete and I actually trade, we like talking about the trades that we've made, trades that we're looking to make, and the direction that we think a stock or index is ready to take based on quantifiable information like unusual option activity. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Here's Occidental Petroleum, another stock we talked about on the Rebel's Edge. It was hitting a new 52-week high today. We cited this because look at those big trades on the 19th and 23rd. 79, almost 80 million shares versus normal of less than 20. Then look at 59 million, again, almost 60 million versus less than 20 on the average. So you know there was a big guy that was accumulating shares. His name was Warren Buffett. He can accumulate up to 52% of the company. Do you think it is likely that Mr. Buffett had been accumulating Oxy, OXY, on these dates? We did too. And we are happy to say we are still riding along in here. And to my knowledge, this is the only oil-related stock of a major that is hitting a new 52-week high, even though, of course, crude oil was higher by $3 today. And now many of you ask, John, what are you trading outside of optionable stocks? Well, one of the ones that I'm trading outside of the optionable stocks that I trade is Quentas. CUEN. What are these guys? Think of them as a way to send money across borders. It's not a crypto play. These guys ride on the backbone of people that have put out huge networks for doing this. So back in the day, of course, Western Union was the name everybody talked about. Well, they ride on those rails, Western Union rails. Today, and one of the reasons I'm highlighting it today is the stock opened up and then traded back down. We bought more in the 66-cent range, I think. Quentas, CUEN, announced an exclusive software licensing and transaction sharing agreement with the OLB group. So what does that mean? Well, they've got 32,000 nationwide bodegas and convenience store network. So sooner or later, people are going to get that this is a huge deal because, again, if people are working here in this country, America, and they'd want to send money back to Latin America, South America, Mexico, Europe, to relatives that are in need or whatever, what's better? Sending money and then having to have somebody go to a store to pick up the money with perhaps some dangerous people waiting for people to go into those stores, knowing that they are likely to be picking up cash? Or is it a good idea to have an app on your phone that you're able to send money to a loved one, a relative, whomever, to anywhere, south of the border, north of the border, anywhere around the globe, and do it seamlessly directly onto another app, so that then they can go spend that money because it's now on their app. They can go spend that money in a department store, in a butcher shop, to get repairs done, to buy a new washer, dryer, whatever it might be, without having that cash being basically something that helps a professional thief find a victim. So yes, that's what Quentas is all about, CUEN. We are big fans of this company. I am a significant investor in the company, full disclosure. And I think in the 60-cent range, this one is way too cheap. And that's why I'm telling you about it. That headline is from today, by the way, folks. All right. Virtual RebelCon. What is that? We have RebelCon going on in Dallas, Texas, the 21st through 24th of September. So it's less than a month away. And you can secure your spot, your virtual spot, by going to marketrebellion.com/Dallas. And you can see all about the speakers that are going to be there, all about the special events that we're going to be having and so forth, live trading for 2 days and so forth. Go to marketrebellion.com/Dallas to learn more about our virtual options. All right, now let's get started with three fresh trades. First one, bearish trade, IWM. Again, if you're somebody who's not traded a lot of options, a put option is the right to sell stock at a specified price. So the stock's trading 188. They're buying basically the 180 strike put, $8 lower than where the stock is trading. Are they incredibly bearish and they think the stock's going down to zero? We don't know. Are they protecting a portfolio? We don't know. But we do know they want it in fast and they wanted 1.5 million share coverage. How do we know that? Because they bought September 9th. That's not this Friday. That's next Friday, expiring put options. And they bought them 15,000 contracts worth, meaning with every option being for 100 shares of stock, or in this case, ETF, this is a 1.5 million share position that somebody has. So do you like following 1.5 million share equivalent times $188 stock? Because if you do, then I've got a great downside bet for you that somebody just placed. That is the first of today's 3 at 3 IWM 15,000 September 180 puts. These are rapid decay puts because they're in the final 4 weeks of the option's life. These are only 2 weeks into the future, so you get the idea. We take our profits quick. We take our losses quick. Next trade, GFI. This one's gold fields. So the Fed's moving up interest rates. They say they're going to continue to move up interest rates. But you know what's been doing pretty well despite interest rates moving up? That doesn't usually happen, and that is gold. Why is that? Is that because of inflation? is because of recession fears. What is it? Well, it's an $8.50 stock, and they're buying the 9 calls, just 50 cents, 43 cents out of the money. So I'm buying these upside calls, betting that gold goes higher. It's a 500,000 share bet. How do I know 500,000 shares? 5,000 options is 5,000 times 100, 500,000 share equivalent. I like following big trades like that. So we are in. And lastly, Apache, APA, bullish call buying. With Apache trading 41.70, they're buying 6,000 of the October 42.50 calls. So these aren't that far out of the money. Call it 70, 80 cents out of the money. But nonetheless, they're buying these. They have basically 2 months to be right, September and October. 42.50, I like the upside call. I like the idea of owning this because there's not enough energy because of the sanctions that have been put on Russia. There is not enough energy out there for the rest of the world that's outside of the BRICS. BRICS are, of course, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Those 5 countries make up the BRICS. Everybody else needs more energy. We need more energy. The president has cut back on production, cut back on pipelines. We need more energy. And the energy companies here want to sell more energy overseas because the prices are much higher. Kind of natural that they might want to do that, right? So keep an eye on APA, Apache. 6,000 is 600,000 share equivalent. I am long that name. And that's going to do it for me today, folks. Remember, RebelCon coming up September 21st through 24th. If there are any seats left, you can find out about it by going to rebelcon.com rebelcon.com marketrebellion.com. They confuse me sometimes just to see if I'm watching what they put on the screen. rebelcon.marketrebellion.com. You can find all about it. 2 days live trading boot camp, Texas experiences. It's going to be fab. I hope we see you there. And I'll be back here tomorrow with my brother Pete, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the Rebel Edge. I'll see you then. Bang.